Hi, guys. We are going to be finishing up our third grade detectives book, and we will be going on to some other reading this week on Wednesday, I believe that is. But we want to think about a couple things. We know we had a red herring the last time, or at least we think we did. So we want to make sure that's what's actually happening, because the story ended with Leon was doing his math with his left hand. So is he the one who did it? Sent the envelope? We're also going to think about how mysteries go. There's a crime. You detect what's going on with the clues, and then you solve it. But sometimes we do get interrupted with that red herring. So we're going to find out if Leon was or is the red herring. Noelle waited until they got to the cafeteria to tell Amberly what she had discovered. Leon sent you that letter, she said. Amberly gasped. He did? Yes, he did, Dad said. How did you find out? Amberly asked. Noelle told Amberly what she had seen. I think he's really left-handed, she said. I think he really licks the envelope flat from the right to the left, too. But I tested him, Amberly said. He licks the envelope from the left to the right. I think he pretended to do that, Todd said. I think he pretended to be right-handed. Amberly sighed. Well, I can certainly understand how someone like Leon would look up to me, she said. Noelle looked around the cafeteria. She saw Leon sitting at a table on the other side of the room, but he wasn't eating at all. He was just staring at them. Noelle, Todd, and Amberly stared back for several minutes. Finally, Leon looked away. He stood up. He picked up his tray. He put it on the conveyor belt. Then he walked slowly by their table. You'll never prove it, he whispered. Ooh, that's good. They can't really prove that he is or isn't right or left-handed right now, can they? Amberly looked very irritated. During afternoon recess, Noelle and Todd cornered Leon on the playground. They gave him their evidence. Leon sighed. I thought I fooled you when I licked from left to right, he said. I normally lick from right to left. You fool, Amberly, Todd said. Leon grinned. Did I also fool you when I wrote with my right hand? He said. Todd nodded. I just thought you couldn't write very well. Are you going to tell on me? Leon said. The other guys will all make fun of me if you do. Noelle looked at Todd. What do you think we should do? She asked. Todd thought for a minute. Well, we have to tell Mr. Merlin something, he finally said. He has to know that we solved the mystery. So Leon agreed to let them tell Mr. Merlin. After school, the three of them stayed until everyone else was gone. Mr. Merlin grinned when he heard what had happened. Ah, Leon, you let down your guard, he said. When you did your math, you weren't thinking about which hand to write with, so you did what you normally do. You normally use your left hand. That's how a lot of criminals get caught. They let down their guard. You mean I'm a criminal? Leon asked. No, of course not, Mr. Merlin said. I was just talking about normal behavior. Leon looked at Noelle and Todd. Don't forget, he said, you promised you wouldn't tell anyone. The rest of the class will want to know the solution to the mystery, Leon, Mr. Merlin said. We'll have to tell them something. Let me think about it overnight. The next morning, Mr. Merlin said, Noelle and Todd have solved Amberly's mystery. Well, who sent the letter? Misty asked. All of a sudden, Leon jumped up. I did it, he shouted. What? He just said he didn't want anyone to know. Class went just like I just did. I wasn't going to tell because I was too embarrassed, Leon continued, but now I'm really excited about how the mystery was solved. He walked to the front of the room. I talked to Mr. Merlin last night. He said our class could solve all kinds of mysteries like this, and that's what I want to do. Us too, several other kids said. Then that's what we'll do, Mr. Merlin said. There are lots of mysteries in our town that need to be solved, and we'll solve them. We'll be the third grade detectives. The class cheered. Of course, sometimes there are easier ways to solve mysteries like ours, Mr. Merlin said. We'll take a field trip tomorrow to the police laboratory to see how Dr. Smiley would have done it. This was going to be the best third grade class ever, Noelle thought. She could hardly wait for tomorrow to come. When it did, they headed into the police station. So remember, the police detective took swabs of everyone's saliva? Well, Dr. Smiley met them and she said, "Welcome to the police laboratory." She pointed to all the equipment in the room. "These machines help me solve crimes. Mr. Merlin told me that Noelle and Todd already solved the mystery of who sent Amberly the letter. He said it was someone in your class, but he wouldn't tell me who it was. So I'm going to show you the way I'd solve it. First, I'd start with the evidence, the flap. Then I'd use one of these machines to analyze the saliva. It tells me what the DNA was. It's sort of like the building blocks of your body. Only one person in the whole world will have the same DNA as the machine tells me. Next, I'll collect saliva samples from each of the suspects, which I did. That means everyone in the class. Dr. Smiley gave each person a cotton swab. And then we'll let the machine do the rest. And I'll know the answer in 2 weeks. What? Well, Todd did it in less than 2 weeks. 2 weeks, Noelle thought. She was disappointed. She had hoped they'd find out right away. Of course, she already knew. And it hadn't taken her and Todd 2 weeks to find out. Dr. Smiley took them on a tour of the rest of the laboratory. Noelle was very impressed. 2 weeks later, Dr. Smiley came to the class. "We have a match," she said. "The DNA of the saliva matches Leon Dennis." The class applauded. Noelle looked at Leon. He looked a little embarrassed. She remembered how he had tried to fool them by licking the envelope from left to right. She remembered how he had tried to fool them by writing with his right hand. He couldn't fool the DNA test, though. "I have some good news, class," Mr. Merlin said. "Dr. Smiley enjoyed helping us solve Amberly's mystery. She'd like to help her solve more crimes in the future." The class cheered. All right, so that's the end. But at the back of the book, there are some codes that you can break. Now, remember in the beginning of the story how we had the X in the middle that was like the clock, and then it went around and around, and sometimes you had filler letters in? Well, the first one here is a secret message using the stacking code Mr. Merlin explained to the third grade detectives in chapter 2 of the book that we just finished. But the stacks are in the wrong order. Can you rearrange the stacks and read the message? So here's the stack. So that means these are not in the right row. So put them in the right order and you should get a message. And I will give you a hint. There is one letter that's a filler letter. Okay. The other one, and if you get that, put it in a doc and send it to me. We'll announce who got it and who didn't. Oh no, here's another message with the stacks in the wrong order, meaning the rows going across. Can you figure this one out? This one's a little tougher because it's quite long. But you can keep this up on your screen as you try to solve it and put it in the right order. Let's see how many filler letters there are on this one. Let's see. There are 3 filler letters. That helps you out. Okay. So see if you can solve that. Send it to me in a doc. Put your name on it and say code. So it's your name with code to name your doc. Let's see if you have learned anything about solving codes.